Shabbat Shalom. 124 of our Sidurim. If you are joining us virtually and do not have a prayer book, a Sidur in your home, please reach for the PDF below the live stream link. Open a split screen or bring a second device so you can follow in your Sidur and also be present with us. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built this synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured. A beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Join me. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak. Let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. Center yourself where you are. It is our tradition to receive the Sabbath through song, allowing the song, the melodies to lift us like on angels' wings. 129 from Shir HaShirim, from the Song of Songs. Psalm 131, Psalm 96. The Sabbath is a creation of its own, celebrating this basking in the sacred, celebrating the possibility of what it can be. $121. Help me perfect my ways of loving and caring. Inspire me to make myself whole so that I may honor your name and create a world of justice and peace.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
142, welcoming the angels that protect us in the Sabbath, holding in our hearts those frontline workers who continue to make certain that we have what we need, that we are safe as we work our way through maybe the hardest part of the pandemic, when we have no more room for it, and still we're here. Those ordinary, extraordinary people in our lives who are sustaining us.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashavim, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Noachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon.
138 and 139, paragraphs 1 and 2, 5 and 9. It is traditional when we reach the 9th and final paragraph to stand and face the entrance, the back of the sanctuary. In doing so, we honor those who are grieving and are waiting until the Lecha Dodi to enter. Those who haven't found their way to our synagogue, when we face the entrance, we show with our entire being our openness to welcome all who choose to be in our midst.
Lecha Dodi, Likrat Halam, B'nei Shabbat, Avela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Halam, B'nei Shabbat, Avela. Shamor v'zachor. Tiferet velitila lecha dodi bikrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela lecha dodi bikrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Shabbat lechu v'lecha ki mekor ha'baracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'mashvat chila lecha dodi likrat kala Shabbat, Avela, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Avela.
Paragraph 5.
Hitoreri, Ki ha'orech kumi ori. Shir daberi, kevod Adonai, alayich nila, lecha dodi, likrat hala, b'nei Shabbat, nekavela, lecha dodi, likrat hala. Shalom, ateret ba'ala, ga b'simcha u'b'tzola, toch emunei ha'am segula, boi chala, lecha dodi, likrat hala. Avela, lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekavela, b'nei Shabbat, nekavela.
144. The rhythms of the Aramaic lead us toward the entrances of holiness.
Yitkada v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'alma divrach hirutei, v'yamlich malchutei,
בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עולמיה. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל. שמי דקודשה ברכו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירה נעלמה ואמרו Amen. 147. There is one who sings the song of their own life, finding everything within themselves. There is one who leaves the circle of their self and sings the song of their people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And there is one who rises even higher, leha'alot, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song. Nivarech, let us bless as we face Yerushalayim, full of possibility, connection, and hope. Marveling at the miracle of the natural world, the miraculous, the sacred unfolding, 148. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. בחוכמה פותח שערים ובתבונה משנה עתים ומחליף את הזמנים ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם. ברכי Shema is preceded by Ahavat Olam, this understanding of love, of infinite love, of divine love. Mary Oliver writes, "My work is loving the world. Here the sunflowers, there the hummingbird, equal seekers of sweetness. Here the quickening yeast, there the blue plums, here the clam deep in the speckled sand. Are my boots old? Is my coat torn? Am I no longer young and still half perfect? Let me keep my mind on what matters, which is my work, which is mostly standing still and learning to be astonished. The phoebe, the delphinium, the sheep in the pasture, and the pasture, which is mostly rejoicing since all the ingredients are here, which is gratitude, to be given a mind and a heart and these body clothes, a mouth with which to give shouts of joy to the moth and the wren, to the sleepy dug-up clam, telling them all over and over how it is that we will live forever." 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
154.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha.
158. The words of Miriam, of Moses, of Bnei Yisrael become our words as we partner with the divine in healing the world.
Yai lai yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai yai lai 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 mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi
Every day is a gift. It is not a given. And as a gift, it is for us to lean into the day and to receive it as that. Every night we pray 160 that we will be sheltered by the presence of the divine, under the divine wing of the Shekhinah, and if we are so lucky, given yet another day.
Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'amideinu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'amideinu shomreinu l'chaim. Lai la lai 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 Ushmor tzeiteinu uvoeinu l'chaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad
$165 in an envelope marked personal. God addressed me a letter in an envelope marked personal. I have given my answer. Standing together as you are able, 164 through 180, each of us finding that private, personal prayer that you need to express this evening when you've completed your prayers. work your way back to your seats.
Adonai,
371. Reaching for prayers for healing. This evening, our healing goes out to Sue Worthman, Susan Bosch, Arnie Zappel, Yisrael Aga, Amanda Batista, Susan Becker, Jenny Bryant, Tom Burrows, Amelia Byers, Audrey Cohn, Jay Cohn, Joe Cohn, Robert Cook, Carol Cooper, Adele Corvin, Tyler Corvin, Louis Costella, Yehuda Ben Leah V'Chaim, Bob Davis, Laila Batieta V'Moshe, Honey Fine, Phyllis Fillmore, Ellen Futterman, John Gaudier, Joy Gross, Ron Hall, Darren Jacobs, Judy Jacobs, Debbie Kalish, Lee Kalish, Les Kalmus, Seth Kerr, Susan Klamberg, Andrea Klein, Mary Jane Klein, Lou Klein, Buddy Krakowski, Lisette Landon, Jeff Levine, Jack Levy, Jeff Lukash, Malka Levine, Stacy Lynn, Stevie Winworth, Lana Ogram, Moshe Yosef, Stephanie Payusko, Rick Peruso, Carla Friedman, Ellie Edelwitz, Rivka Bat Esther Ephraim, Tony Rosenstein, Robin Stone, Elaine Trott, Beverly Ushko, Ellen Vogeloff, George Wells, Ben Wilder, Phyllis Wofield, Gretchen Zimmerman. Continued healing and strength to Sandy Albelli, Todd Albelli, Bonnie Amantro, Jan Bennett, Pat Brackman, Evelyn Bauer, Joe Calley, Michael Corvin, Stephen Fine, Honey Fine, Cheryl Fitzsimmons, Barbara Gallagher, Francine Glasser, Mark Greenberg, Marcia Hamburg, Valerie Henderson, George Jones, Danny Joseph, Anita Cantor, Heather Kite, Joe Levy Corley, Charlie Lippman, Nomi Laurie, David Mallon, Joan Moore, Ann Murkoff, Catherine Nicholson, Nevaeh Newsy, Jim O'Dowd, Orly Butzvia Vachaya, Steve Perlmutter, Antoinette Phelan, Lillian Rich Schuster, Dave Rosenthal, Evie Rosenthal, Kyle Rothgeb, Barbara Salberg, Henry Sanderson, Shirley Schneider, Deborah Sears, Phil Searles, Merrill Shapiro, Sloan Shortley, Michelle Simon, Charles Slutsky, Beverly Ushko, Sandy Weiner, Karen Wilder, Luca Williams, the Livingston House staff, and residents. For those in the house today, if you have a loved one that you would like us to hold in our hearts for these prayers of healing, someone who is challenged with illness, please, when my eyes meet yours, share the name. For all of those mentioned and for anyone that you are holding in your hearts, we pray together in the middle of the page.
May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Be happy. It's Adar. Adar is, as you know, the 6th month of the civil year. If you're counting from Tishrei, from Rosh Hashanah, the new year, it's the 12th month of the religious year on the Hebrew calendar. If you're counting the beginning of the year from Nisan, from Passover. Adar is a 29-day month, except in leap years, like this year. In that case, the month of Adar is preceded by a 30-day intercalary month, Adar Aleph, first Adar. Today is the 10th of the first Adar. In the Mishnah, Megillah 1:4, there's a declaration that Purim must be celebrated in Adar 2 when there is a leap year. And so we know what we need to be doing next month in Adar 2. We're going to be celebrating Purim. But what about now, Adar 1, where we are now? It's considered an extra month. As I write to you, I've begun to sign my letters, my notes, with "Be happy it's Adar," as is our tradition. But I have been pondering what we ought to be doing with this extra month. Be happy it's Adar, that's good. But is there more? What makes us happy? What makes us satisfied? What makes us feel complete? And what makes us unhappy? Normally, when Adar comes, we're talking about beginning to throw off the doldrums of the winter, the darkness, the challenges of feeling isolated, of feeling shut in, of feeling not connected. Well, that's an understatement for us these last 3 years. Today I began to ponder a story that you know, the story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin. In Germany, it's pronounced Hameln. We speak about it as Hamelin. It's a story that began in the Middle Ages, around 1284, when apparently a real thing happened. About 130 children disappeared from the town of Hamelin. And from that arose a legend. It goes like this. There was a rat infestation in the town of Hamelin. And the Pied Piper, a man in a colorful coat, claiming to be a rat catcher, was hired by the town, promised 1,000 guilders, which in those days was an enormous amount of money, to remove the rats. And so the story goes, he lured the rats out of the town and they drowned in the Weser River. And upon completion of the task, the townspeople and the mayor reneged on the payment. And the Pied Piper retaliates by using his magical power to lure the children away from the town. Apparently, when all of the adults were in church, 130 children followed him out of town into a cave, never to be heard from again. When I began to look at this story, as it is told and retold over the ages, told and retold in different lands, I realized that the story is told and bent toward the culture that is telling the story. What about in our culture? Well, Disney takes this story in 1933 and creates a film, and at the end of the film, the conclusion of the legend, the children are dancing off to a state of unabashed happiness. They arrive to a place of unfettered joy, and Disney seems to end the legend with a happy, carefree, everything is good ending. I sometimes think that the way that we tell stories in America tell more about who we are. COVID, it's over, right? Happily ever after, phew, we got through that. Or not. We're actually not through COVID. We're going to be living with COVID for a long time. But how do we manage as Americans, as a Western civilization, to deal with the responsibility that comes with an exhausting pandemic? How do we struggle with the realities of what we need to handle, not just for the moment, how we feel in the moment, or what we want in the moment, or what we think are our freedoms of the moment, but how do we position ourselves for longer-term accountability for ourselves and for one another? As we speak, there are truckers creating a protest over the 3 bridges between Canada and America. Supposedly, they are upset by the economy, and yet their actions over these last several weeks have done more harm to the economy than what was prior to their protests. They're protesting for their freedoms. Freedom is important. Our Judaism speaks about that. But what is our responsibility with that freedom to others? I sit each week with the Supreme Court of the United States making these decisions in our midst, and I want to shake us and wake us. I think to myself, what are we doing? How did we get here? The decisions that are being made yesterday, today, and tomorrow in the Supreme Court around equal access for every American to vote, around a woman's right to control and make choices for her body. These decisions are being made right now, and these decisions will have implications for the teenagers in our community, for the little ones in our community, for decades, maybe even generations to come. I think about the original story of the Pied Piper. And I learned that every year in the town of Hamelin, the story is reenacted. There are people who come out and do an entire festival. Michael and I began to speak about it, and he told me that in the early 80s, he was actually in the town of Hamelin, and he watched the reenaction of the Pied Piper. And this is what he remembers. He remembers that the story of the children being lured out of the town was this big. And then the story of where and what and how the adults in the town dealt with the grief and the loss was this big, very different than the Disney story where the children dance off into bliss. I think that this distinction speaks to the moment that we are in right now. COVID is not over. Decisions being made in the court are going to have intense ramifications for us for a very long time. But why are we so insistent that the pandemic is over? We want to be liberated. As soon as the town is freed from their infestation of rats, there's a kind of an amnesia of responsibility. The people renege on their commitment to the Pied Piper. It's easy to forget how miserable they were with the infestation of the rats, and they don't follow through with what is owed. Free of the rats, the people don't want to pay the piper. This is a lesson that informs our life today. How do we deal with the aftermath of an intense tragedy? We are pushing 1 million Americans who will have lost their lives to the pandemic, fast approaching the 1 million mark. It's not going to be happily ever after. The children are not going to dance off into untaxed bliss. A tragedy happens. We have a moment to catch our breath. We can't go forward as if it didn't happen. The original portrayal of the Pied Piper knows this. The disappearance of the children leaves the townspeople racked with grief, guilt, uncertainty, and a sense that they need to step up to the moment. What remains is the memory of loss, the tragedy that is handed down from generation to generation. What is our responsibility today? For this last 2+, now into our 3rd year of a tragic pandemic in our country, and where and how do we go forward from here? In 1957, Hal Stanley created another American telling of the Pied Piper, and the people tried to break through the cave closing with a cannon. What are we going to do with our grief? In what ways will we be changed? What will we choose going forward? Will we be able to hear the music? To be able to create a viable future for the next generation. In our portion tomorrow morning, Parashat Tetzaveh, we are told to take pure olive oil, shemen zayit zach, katit L'ma'or, for the very purpose of leha'alot ner tamid, to raise up the eternal flame. There's a beautiful discussion about the word leha'ir that is spelled Lamed Hey Ayin Resh, Lamed Hey Ayin Yud Resh, which means to wake up, which sounds exactly like the word leha'ir, which means to light. They are homophones. Leha'ir, we are asked to light the eternal sacred light. Leha'ir, we are asked to wake up, to awaken to the divine, to awaken to accountability, to awaken to responsibility for the future. COVID has given us an opportunity. How are we going to tell the story? Do we block it out and pretend that everything is good? Do we awaken to our responsibility? What do we want our ending to look like? Tomorrow morning, Minyan begins at 10 a.m. We are thrilled if you choose to be in the sanctuary with us. All of our COVID protocols are on our website. Sunday, our Zimit Learning Adventure begins at 9:30 a.m. Next week, throughout the week, all of my classes, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday as scheduled. Next Saturday, confirmation class meets for community service this time in February here in the sanctuary, as we will be doing some work for the congregation. Zemer is excited to be resuming rehearsals at synagogue with 2 upcoming dates. Tuesday evenings on February 22nd and March 15th from 5 to 6:30. Alexandra will be preparing and exploring Shabbat songs to offer in our weekly prayer, and also preparing the Zemer group for Purim. If you are a Zemer singer, please put these dates on your calendar. If you have not yet become a Zemer singer, this is the time to do it. Be in touch with Alexandra if you have any questions. More dates will be announced shortly. Purim is coming up. March 18th, save the date. It will be the beginning of spring, and we are looking to really bring everyone together in anticipation of Purim. We have our Mishloach Manot project. You all received emails about it. There are 2 pieces to it. The first is just to delight another member of our congregation. You send 1 gift basket to someone, and you will receive 1 from someone, usually someone else, not the same person you gave to, a way of our connecting as a congregation. As is our mission as a congregation, we have a second element of Purim, of Mishloach Manot, and that is for us to respond to a place of need in our community. This year, the Mishloach Manot giving will be directed towards seniors. Please check your emails and the website so that you know how to prepare your Mishloach Manot basket. CEHV's Food Access and Security Initiative continues. If you're here in the sanctuary today, please pick up one of the brown bags on your way out. It has all of the instructions for how you can help to sustain our neighbors so that they have food, they have access to food and food security. If you are viewing our services virtually, please look on the website and get involved. Each time that you shop, put together a bag and drop it off at the Clinton Avenue outdoor fridge. Membership and Welcoming Committee invite you to join as a volunteer to be a greeter. Do it once a month, do it once every 3 months, do it once every 6 months. Let's really make certain that we're all taking part in this. This evening, I want to thank Susan and Steve Hirsch for their stepping up to be greeters. I want to give a big shout out to Bob Helfand, who lifts up our hearts with joy with his music as he accompanies and plays with Alexandra, and always to our Barry Cohn for his constancy to making our live stream accessible to everyone who is joining us virtually. If you are enjoying the virtual services, please make certain Saturday night, Sunday morning, to go onto our website and to make a donation to help sustain the amazing community, the amazing work that we're doing here at CEHV. Taking a moment, as you are able, directing our attention, body and soul to Jerusalem once more, 587. We stand for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
591.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
594. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love, what death has touched. I hold our memorial list here for all of the members of our community who are observing their Shloshim, their month, and their Shana, their year of grief, those recent losses. Know that we are together with you. So too, this evening, do I weave the names of loved ones who died in this season, in years past. Mildred Block, Harriet Carroll, Robin Cohn, Matthew and Michael Corvin's cousin and niece, Lillian Feldman, Joan Hoffman, David Hoffman's mother, Rose Jaffe, Sandy Giordano's mother, Harold Kay, Doris Mandel, Honey Fine's mother, Gertrude Markle, Linda Sumber's mother, Frances Nuremberg, remembered lovingly by Gail Levy, Paul Nuremberg, remembered lovingly by Gail Levy, Mitch Rubino, Skit Rubino's husband, Matilda Wolfe, Felice Gasul's grandmother, Mildred Wolfe, Felice Gasul's aunt, Fanny Zucker, Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. Together with them, we weave the martyrs of our people who left no one to say Kaddish for them, and the people of every race and nation who live their lives as a blessing to humanity. They too are part of our prayer. 598. As you are able, it is our tradition to stand together, supporting one another, taking responsibility for one another. Kaddish Yitom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayeichon uvyomeichon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lamei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shmei d'kudusha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiram bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shmaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol b'nei Adam. V'imru amen. 647, Or Zaruah, light is sown for the righteous, joy for the upright.
Or Zaruah, Latzadik, U'yishrei lev simcha. Or Zaruah, Latzadik, U'yishrei lev simcha. Or Zaruah, Latzadik, U'yishrei lev simcha. U'yishrei lev simcha. Or Zaruah, Latzadik, U'yishrei lev simcha. U'yishrei lev simcha. Lai, 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 lai,
Vayihi erev vayihi voker yom hashishi, vayichulu hashamayim va'aretz v'chol tzeva'am, vayichol Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asaha, vayishpot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asaha, vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i vayikadesh oto, ki vo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot savri. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen, amen. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, בשבת קודשו, באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית. כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, עם כל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. Amen. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, we give thanks to the source above. Our voices rise in song together, as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. L'chaim. Shabbat shalom.
Thank you, Bob.